Saturday night, we say that we have a tradition. It's not even a tradition; it's a known thing that the world was created on a Saturday night. When Adam made the first head, made the first sin, they say everything went out of order. And he said when he made the first sin and everything went out of order, he went chased out of Gan Eden, he missed the light in which he lived then, in the Gan Eden. And he went and found two stones and he frictioned them one against another, and he saw the light came out of there, and he had hope that he would come back again one day to the light where he lived, in Gan Eden. That's why one of the reasons we say Havdalah on Saturday night. A flame is a poor light compared to the light of heaven, but it is the light that reminds us of the great light. So when he made the head, everything went out of order. And our business in this world is to put things in order. Of course, there are many ways to put things in order. Some people are so fed up with being in disorder, they go to people who put them in order. But the order in which people put you, this organized order, could be even more detrimental than the disorder. So you go to fix yourself up in organization, or organize your thought, and the madness becomes even worse. Especially we Jews, it's very hard for a Jew to be organized, that organized. You can understand that aside from the non-Jewish world where there is nothing else. But you have to organize yourself to have some sanity. But in the Jewish world, in Hasidut, with the Hasidut of the Baal Shem Tov, with Kabbalah, with the world that is so extreme in Judaism, you cannot possibly organize yourself. So what we'll talk about tonight is this balance, if there is a possible balance or not. First of all, we were just talking about it this week with a friend in California. Look how simple it could be. Sometimes a young man has no wife. He wants to get married. But he is out of context. He is not in the right context. Like sometimes there is food that is very good for health, but put in the wrong context, it causes eczema or any problem. Put in the right context, it's a cure, depending on where you put it. Some words out of context are very dangerous, are poisonous. In context, they are healing. And our business is to put things in context. The greatness of the Lubavitcher Rabbi is that he seems not to say anything new, but he puts everything in context. He puts things in order. All the problems have happened since Adam. The world is in complete disarray, in complete disorder. He puts the words together. He puts the audience together. That's why years back, the Rabbi used to speak 8-9 hours. He was putting things in order. He could have said things in 5 minutes. He spoke 8 an hour. He spoke 8-9 hours because he was putting things in order. For example, now there is a very big thing going on, which is a very good thing by itself. They call it arachim. Arachim are people who have found secrets of Torah through computers, and they find that everything is in the Torah. The Six-Day War, the Yom Kippur War, Khomeini is there, Bush is there, everybody is there. Everything's spelled out. Everybody is there. All the events of the world are there. Reagan is there, Nixon is there, everybody is there. I mean, Hashem in Mount Sinai figured out everything. So what happened to people? They gathered 200 people, put them together in one room in a big hotel, very, very luxurious hotel. They pay a lot of money, and they tell them all these things, and people start crying. They cry, they say, then the Torah is true, then God is true, then everything is real. And they are touched so much that they come back to Judaism. But how much they come back? Where do they come back? Who is showing it to them? Who is the face that is showing it to them? That's the question. The stuff is good, but where do you fall? Who are you to present such good stuff? It could be very dangerous. If you have found such a great stuff and you come home and you don't follow mitzvot, then you'll become a real heretic. They say, I know the good stuff, I know it's all real, but I have no time. Then you have to go against it. You're going with it. So you have to know how much balance, how much to give, how much not to give. Who are you? How do you present it? In which situation are you presenting it? In which atmosphere? Who is around? With which face are you presenting it? And where are you going to take this person? In which yeshiva? In which environment? In front of which Rav? And which word are you going to say first? The first word you say to a person who comes back to tshuva could be a gum, could be a trace, and forever it will stay with him. For example, I was in Montreal 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago. There's a great guy, beautiful neshama, something very unique. But he's like a police. He's always counting my faults. Why you do this? Why is this? Why is that? Why is that? I said, where do you get it from? Where do you get it from? Because when he came to Judaism, that's what happened to him, that's what he does to you. I said, relax. Why are you counting faults? Why you are like a police? It's not your type to be a policeman. You have never been a policeman, but now you became a policeman. Relax. So the difficulty is, in the beginning, when the world was created and Adam made the first head, it was parallel to when God created the world. He created sephirot, like spheres, or luminaries, and these luminaries broke. When the light of God went into them, they shattered, and they went down, and it became this world, completely disordered world. Our business is to put it together. Now, the difficulty is, we call these sephirot kelim, vases, vessels. The difficulty is how to fill the keli, how to fill the vessel. All the great tzaddikim, their business was never to bring the orot, to bring the light. It is to build the vessel. Baba Sali Rabbi Abehsera alav shalom, when he passed away, there was 500,000 people in his ptira, in his levaya, and if he was they had brought him to the cemetery, maybe, let's say if it was within the halakha, he could wait a day, maybe 2-3 million would have come to his levaya. People who couldn't have children had children. People who had disease that were impossible to cure were cured. And this man was known not to have never said something great in the Torah. He never gave orot, lights. He only built the keli. He built the person. The problem is, since a person cannot build a person and he wants to shatter you with his chachma, with his intelligence, he gives you the orot. Come and listen. Kabbalah, come in the Arachim, come and listen to the secret of Torah. He has no keli himself. He doesn't know how to build a keli, so he hits you with great stuff. He's saying it with which face he's saying it. So he catches you, you are caught, and you are in limbo. Where do I go? I'll go anywhere. But since anywhere doesn't exist too much, there's not the right place, so you stay in limbo, and since you stay in limbo, you don't belong anywhere. You start hating yourself because you don't belong. What you saw was right, and you become a loner, and you get hurt. So first you have to build the keli, build the vessel before you start speaking out. Now, how do you build a keli? Sometimes, and I know a little bit about this. I was a smith. You know what a smith is? You put iron in a fire, and you heat it. A blacksmith, you know. I did that for 5 years. And this was my job. I made all kinds of things with iron. Sometimes you hit hard, and sometimes you hit smooth. When you arrive at the end. Sometimes even in the beginning you hit smooth, because you need to see the resistance of the iron. How much are you? How much is high? How hard is the hammer? How soft is the iron? Maybe you're not working with iron, you're working with a different kind of iron. So you have to be careful with whom you are dealing, which person you are dealing. So, if you have come to a point where you can hit hard because you know the iron, you know the fire, you know your strength, then you can hit hard in the beginning. You can hit hard someone, say something hard to him. But if you're not an expert, you have to be careful how much you speak, how much you give. I'll explain this. In Hasidut, there is an expression, and it's in the Gemara already, but the Tanya begins with this, Derech Arucha Ketzara, the longest way and the shortest way. There is two ways to speak Torah. To teach it is either the long way, derech harucha, or derech ketzara. Or it also, the expression also means derech harucha ketzara. The longest way is the shortest way. Now it depends who you are, that you can take a right way, a short way. First, let's begin something very simple. I began saying that there is a young man who then he acquires the face of that environment. He is known. Then when a person comes into a room, he's part, like a letter that is part of a Sefer Torah, a letter is part of a text, or a letter or a word that's part of a thought. Without that letter, thought doesn't make any sense. It will be a hole there. It won't make any sense. If you put that person in the right context, he will shine. He will exist. So sometimes it is not simple. You just sit a person right near you like this, and he will be seen. Some people are never given the opportunity to sit in the right place. Some people are never given to think the right thought, to eat the right food, to be in the right house. So they are in limbo. They are always lost. And it is that simple. Just put that person in the right place, and he will have a face. So what we have lost, and you go to tzaddikim and it's known this. You go to tzaddik. How many tzaddikim have spoken about the face? You go to the face of a tzaddik and you wash your own face. You look at the face of a tzaddik. The face of a tzaddik has the Torah, the whole Torah of the world. His neshama is on his face. So you go there and you take a shower, and you start acquiring your own face. The face of a tzaddik will reflect your own face. But some people they don't go to the face of a tzaddik. They don't read the right Torah. Everything is out of context. So they spend their life out of context. And they wonder why, and they get depressed. That's what depression is. One of the marks of depression is to be out of context. And it begins to fall. Rabbi Abehsera was known for that. You came expecting to have the biggest answers in the world. Never gave it an answer. It just tells you, take some arak, some vodka, take some salad, eat, say Hayim, that's it. And it builds your vessel. It doesn't have, God forbid, the ego of the person who has the answers. There is an answering machine, the guy who gives answers. He's tough, he's good, he's on the bottom. He has great answers. He's brilliant, but he doesn't help anybody. He doesn't help himself, he doesn't help his wife, he doesn't help his children, he doesn't help anybody. He's not even there, he has no identity, but he's brilliant. He goes into debate. Debate never helped any person in history. Debate never helped. So sometimes an answer is not the answer. Sometimes what a person wants to see is not an answer. He wants to see your keli, your vessel first. If he says you have a full vessel, he says, I don't mind the answer, don't give it to me, I don't need it. I see. Don't have to prove anything. I see the vessel. And what is the first vessel? The first vessel you see is a house. A house is the best vessel. You enter into a house, you look at the house, listen to the house, you don't need any answer. You see the person in front of you, you don't need an answer. So, this is to say that even the Yesara, even the Satan, whatever we can say his name at night, he also has a dot of goodness, but you have to catch that person in the touch of goodness. Now imagine now, all of us, God forbid that we have a touch of goodness. Well, everything is good, so peace can be done, can be achieved. With your so-called enemy, he's not your enemy. Something is wrong. Something is out of context. So when I met this Japanese man, I had one alternative. Either I shake hands and I go, or I have to achieve something. As a Jew, I'm dressed like this, the capote, in the middle of hundreds of non-Jews, and I'm dressed like this. I have to make Kiddush Hashem. I'm wearing the clothes. I'm wearing the clothes the Rabbi wears, and I have to. It's a special occasion to make sanctify the name of God. But you have to understand, this man, for many years, was the enemy. I told him for years and years, in the early 60s, to stop doing bad things, to fooling around with women, and not saying things about Judaism. He said Judaism is dualistic, Judaism is this. And I said, he says to me, don't worry, it's only a critic. I say, when you speak about Jews, it's not a critic, it becomes anti-Semitism. So we didn't speak for many, many years. So I said to myself, if in silence, in separation, I'm not going anywhere with him, then I have to go inside him. So I went, I shook hands with him, I started pulling him toward me, and I started dancing with him. And he was looking at me, and he changed completely. And he became extremely happy, and he didn't know what happened to him. What I mean by this is that all of us have an ability. We became shy, or the worst, we became arrogant. We have an identity, we say, me, I am Gvura, I am might. I don't deal with Hesed, I remember There was a Hasid, a French Hasid, years ago. He told me, I am white. I don't go with Hasad. I break people. I said, what's the big deal? What is this? You can't be nice. He said, no. I show them that I'm tough. What has to do with reality? So all this to say that it's all in the Kelly. Build the Kelly like the Rabbi has done for many years. The Kelly, he made the world the Kelly. The world became a Kelly for the Rabbi, and he built step by step. Like they say, there's a French proverb, French expression, petit à petit, l'oiseau fait son nid. Little by little, the bird makes his nest. You don't have to prove anything. But the ego says, I have to show it now. The real hasad is not to show that you are doing anything now for anybody. Nobody should notice that you are doing it at all. But the ego says, I'm going to show my identity. I'm going to identify myself by making such a statement. If I speak small, non-stop, I won't be noticed. But the Kelly has to be built. The vessel has to be built. Before I go on, please, if you have any question, ask me about what I just said. There's many questions about this, yes.
How could the world be created on Saturday night if Saturday hadn't been created?
No, you know the answer. The world was created on Sunday. Yom Rishon is Sunday, and in Judaism, the day begins at night. But there's much to say about Saturday night. But ask me questions first, and we speak about her after Saturday night and Melavi Malka. If you have any questions about what I just said, there are so many questions. I have myself some questions about what I said.
I have a question. What's your background?
My background?
Yeah. A little biography.
I have no back, I have only front. my background? What? There's so much. If you want to know my background, as I said, I was a smith. I became a draftsman, I became a civil engineer. Then I left everything because I was sick, and I went to health, natural health, Chinese herbs, macrobiotics, etc. And during all this time, I was a writer. I always wrote. From the age of 13, I always wrote. 12. I never skipped one day from not writing. For me, writing was oxygen. If I didn't write, I didn't breathe. And it was very important to articulate the world I was living in. It's very important for all of us, especially Jews. We Jews were the people of the world, of the verb, of the word. When you articulate something and you create it, you create a real world. You have to articulate. So the word made everything real to me. Do you have any questions? Not on my life. Ask about my life. Yes.
Now, you were talking about people feel themselves out of context.
Yes.
And I mean, the way I was interpreting that is sort of the idea that you can be somewhere in a place or in a situation, or even personally in your own environment, not feel like you're communicating with anything beyond yourself. That's sort of out of context.
Yes.
What kind of suggestions, I mean, let's say if someone doesn't find that there is someone that he can go to that can help build his own kingdom, what kinds of steps do you think a person should take in order to help put himself back in context?
It's a very difficult question, because this is, you're asking the question of the world. This is the biggest question for me, because it's very hard for me to, not only to answer it, but it's very dangerous. You cannot God. You are taking their free will away. You want really to give the right answer. what really they need. The answer, the true answer, is the toughest. Why? Because you have to give it with your own self. The real answer. Because when someone is out of context, is out of speed, is out of, he has lost everything. You cannot demonstrate things with him, for him with words. And psychology has tried but has failed, because psychology is words without a house. It's a lot of words without a house. People who are psychologists have no house.
What do you mean by that? No house?
The reason why psychology took really over in the world is because a psychologist is not necessarily a person who has a house. In Morocco, we didn't have one psychologist because we have a lot of houses, a lot of food, a lot of guests. People didn't die out in the street. Everybody come in the house and come and heal yourself. The outside of the house is as good as the inside. The outside there is camels and Arabs and snakes and monkeys, all kinds of things. You enjoy the outside, you enjoy the inside. But in America, the outside is bad, the inside is bad also, because the mother and father are a bit mixed up. They're not exactly it. They have to be like a theater. They have to give you, and you should not give it too much, because I hate you when you give me too much. You don't give enough, you don't give me enough. Then you have to reinvent the psychological language. But when you are in context, when you have the house, you don't need too many words. You speak a little, person says enough. From the house, I see that it's enough. That what you are saying is true. In out of context. I asked once when I came to the States in 1964, 65. It was a year later. I asked a psychologist, friend of mine, who had started the group therapy in New York. I said, when you help people, do you get hurt? She says, never. I said, you don't get hurt? You don't suffer? You don't have pain? No. I said, you're a bad psychologist. She said, but you can't function because you have next patient. I said, forget about next patient. Take care of this one. Get hurt. No getting hurt. Only the mouth is speaking. Speaking a mouth. That's what it is. In the Farbrengen, 20 years ago, I go and whistle everywhere. I'm a very, very shy person. I know I'm from a good family. We don't whistle in our family. And he has given me the permission. Not he has given me, he has given me the order to whistle. So I'm whistling. I go into a room out of nowhere, 500, 1,000 people, they don't know me, I never met them, and I start whistling like a madman. Whistle and go through the room, back and forth the room, and whistle. And people come and say, what did you do with that whistling? Something happened to me. But I did it in the name of a tzaddik, not on my name. I do it in the name of a tzaddik. If I do it on my name, then I'm really a madman. So the tzaddik tells you to do whatever you want. And your madness becomes your cure. What you thought was your insanity, your madness, you reverse it like a homeopathic remedy. It was madness, really. But then the tzaddik comes and makes it a positive thing. If otherwise nobody can do it, but the tzaddik can do it. Because your fault, what you thought was your fault, was your cure. But it was one screw, a quarter of a turn tight. Just loosen it up, put things in context. So you go to a tzaddik says like this. You go to another tzaddik, says like this. Baruch Hashem, I was very lucky that when I wanted to trick the Rabbi, when I met the Rabbi in 1971, and I just came to say hello, and I didn't know he was going to be my Rabbi. I just said hello. He told me, you don't go to Israel. Because I said, give me a bracha, I want to go to Israel. He said, no, you're not going, you have to stay in America. So what did he do? I double-crossed him. I called my mother and said, go to Baba Sali, Rabbi Abehsera. He gives me a bracha for going to Israel. But my parents didn't tell Baba Sali what happened to the Rebbe. Just tell him, give a bracha to our son Meir, who is in New York, to come to Israel. He says, no. Meir, who is in New York, he should stay in New York and help the Lubavitcher Rebbe. Consistency. Baruch Hashem, I want to write one. I wanted to go behind the back. Two tzaddikim against me.